Our chief meteorologist Lisa Spencer shows us how it factors in a demonstration you might find pretty neat.
No doubt about it. It's hot out here. It's 95 degrees here in the shade. But when you factor in the humidity, it feels more like 100 degrees. That's why people say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. Here's why. Your body has a natural air conditioning system. So we sweat, we get little beads of water on our skin. That evaporates out into the air and it gives you a cooling sensation. But when it's humid, it doesn't work quite like that. The humidity is kind of like putting a pantyhose on your wet skin. That feels gross. That's why they say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. But we have had some very, very hot days so far this year, and kind of taking a look at the month and where we've been. In June, we've had 19 days that were 90 degrees plus, and the average for the month is 10, and on average, the year has 48 90-degree days. So we are a little bit above, and as a matter of fact, from the Climate Prediction Center, they are saying for the rest of the summer that we could see more above average temperatures. I know that's not exactly what you wanted to hear, but that's the long-range forecast for the rest of the summer. So heat continues to be our big story as we round out this weekend. So some things for you to remember. Make sure you drink lots of water tomorrow. Start early in the day. It helps to hydrate you. And plan some shade breaks. Even if you're just going to the swimming pool or the lake, make sure you try to get some time during the day. During the shade, a little air conditioning will help you as well. And remember the children, the pets, please do not leave them in the car. Just to give you an idea of how quickly things will warm up. If you take your ordinary car, put it outside in a 90-degree weather day like we've had, and you leave it for 10 minutes, it'll be 109 degrees inside in that short period of time. 30 minutes, 124 degrees. So just another reason why we need to be very vigilant about making sure we don't leave anything, anybody in that car. We are at 96 degrees right now on our patio. Now, just about 10 minutes before 5 o'clock, we put two thermometers in this car. One is on the windshield. You can hardly see it because the windows are a little tinted, but it's already reading 120 plus. So let's check the thermometer that is inside, and this one is reading 110. So we know thermometers vary, but that's dangerous heat. Keep that in mind. So what can you do if you've got pets or children that might be in the car? A couple of different things. Snowbird can be a friend, or any stuffed animal. If you put that in your child's safety seat, and then when you put them in, take the stuffed animal and put it in the front seat with you. That way, when you get out of the car, you'll see that stuffed animal and say, uh-oh, this belongs in the back seat. I got to get my little one out. Or a couple of other things you can do. We ladies do not leave our purse behind. So take your purse, or fellas, your cell phone, put those in the back seat. So when you get out of the car, you'll need to get both of those before you head in. So let me give you a little quick lesson on this precipitation. When it's 32 and below, it's going to be all snow. But remember I mentioned that warm punch of air? That's where we melt the snow, it refreezes and falls as sleet, the little ice pellets. Freezing rain is when that warm punch gets a little bit lower to the ground, so we don't have time for it to refreeze. So as a result, it looks like rain when it's falling, but it freezes when it hits the ground. And freezing rain is the worst because that's what causes ice. And looking at our Forewarn live Doppler radar, you would think we already have some snow in some spots. But you know how dry it's been? Your hands have probably been a little bit chapped, maybe needing some lotion. The same for your lips. Well, it is a dry air mass. So just as your lips dry out, this snow is evaporating as it's trying to move across. So just a few places like Big Sandy reporting snow right now. So we've got this dry layer in place, and as the snow is falling, it's evaporating. But as we go through the overnight hours, we expect to see more and more of that moisture build up out there, so we will get that snow reaching the ground. But until we get there, we have to deal with some freezing fog. So what is this freezing fog business anyway? Well, that's going to be fog that's most of the time developing near water. The temperatures are falling at or below freezing. So those little water droplets that are in that fog will freeze on contact to surfaces. And we're talking about bridges, overpasses, that kind of thing, nearby roadways, which can cause some black ice. So watch out for that tomorrow, particularly if you do have some bridges on your route that pass over areas of water. That could be an issue. The temperatures are definitely below freezing, but sometimes we talk about why the roads do like they do. You know, when you've had warm days, sometimes the roadways will hold the heat and they may be above the freezing point, but your bridges and overpasses are always an issue. And the reason being that they stay a little bit cooler is because you've got the cold air going under the bridge and also over the bridge. So we are going to look for some freezing to take place, particularly in those areas where you've got that moisture in the form of flurries and light snow, making for more damp pavement once again for tonight. And some of you heard those rumbles of thunder today. Well, this is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so a good time to remind you that lightning is our underrated killer when it comes to thunderstorms. Just keep in mind that it is attracted to tall objects. You don't want to be near a tree, a flagpole, and the best advice we can always give you during lightning is to stay inside and stay away from those windows as well. We'll be talking a lot about that as we are now officially into severe weather season, as today is the first day of March. But check this out. This was taken yesterday in Wichita Falls, Texas. Now, what happened here is they had a lot of lightning around, and the lightning struck right here, and then it went out from there. We call this a ground current, and this is exactly why you don't want to lie down right there when there's a thunderstorm going on. Get inside. I've got more information on ground currents on my Facebook page, and you can check that out and take another look at this picture. It's really amazing. You just don't see those very often. But sometimes we forget some of the things we're supposed to do during severe thunderstorms. First thing I would suggest is download the Forewarn Weather App. It's free. I use it every day just to look at to see what the latest temperature is, but it will give you warnings. Also, if you've got a weather radio and if you don't have one, I suggest that you get one. Make sure it's got fresh batteries. Make sure it's plugged in. Always a good idea. And think ahead of time, where is the safest place in my house to be? Because you don't want to be thinking about that during severe weather. So if you've got a basement, that's great. The key is going to be the lowest level of your home with as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So think about that tonight. And the storm is closing in on St. Joseph. With this, we're seeing some signs there of rotation taking place, that red and that green, where that storm is twisting and spinning, and then another batch right up here. So two areas of rotation with this. Please, if you're in St. Joseph, if you are southeast of Leoma, make sure that you are in your safe place right now, putting as many walls between you and the outside, your storm shelter. If you have one of those, it would be a great place to be. And we remind folks that live in mobile homes that if you can go to a neighbor's house before the storm gets to you, that's our best advice. If you can't do that, then make sure you go outside, get in a ditch or a culvert would be the best place to go there. So looking now to where this is going to be headed, we've put our storm track on. And then continuing to Kedron at 6:17. Meanwhile, folks over in Chapman's at 6:19. That's when you can estimate that storm will be in your area. So you've got time to make sure you're in your safe place and maybe taking some pillows in there with you, even a helmet to help protect you from any flying debris that might be caused by these tornadoes. Don't want to tell you these things to scare you, just to let you know that this is our early warning system. We want to make sure that you're taking those precautions.
Chief Meteorologist Lisa Spencer can help answer those questions about the wind pattern.
And more importantly, when we might see some rain. She's in the Forewarn Weather Center.
That's right, and all we have to do is take a look at our map here. Now, Carly's right. We've had this east wind, and that's what blew all of this smoke and created all this haze across the mid-state. But we're getting an area of high pressure that is shifting now east of us, and as it does so, that's going to kick that wind around more to a south-southwest direction. So that will shut off the push of all that smoke and all that haze coming here into the mid-state. Now, we do have a front back here, and I would love to tell you that front is going to bring us some rain relief, but really not much other than a few showers. So how long has it been since we've had any measurable rain? Well, let's take a look. Here's a picture today, and this was over at Liberty, looking down in the valley of that smoke. So we could use some rain to help wash that out. But the last time that we had measurable precipitation was 1/100th of an inch. That was on November 8th. The longest record dry streak that we've ever had, that was 36 days in a row with no rain back in 1923. So not a record, but it's still been very dry. Well, this is one of the pictures that was captured that day. And just looking at the cloud cover, notice the jagged edges here along the clouds. So we know we had some updrafts in the area to form those clouds. And with an updraft, we will have to have a downdraft as well. So taking a look at the radar from that day, we see the storm that is here forming north of Nolensville, and then it heads towards the northeast. So we'll back that up one more time. You can see the developing storm, and then watch right here, another little batch that moves right over Smyrna. So that's what things were looking like that day. We have more information on the winds we were seeing that day, as well as a little more explanation on what was going on with our weather on our blog on the weather page at WSMV.com.